Plague Tale Innocence, a game that I was interested in 2019. It looked pretty good from what I had seen in the trailers. I was pretty interested in it. I thought it looked cool. It gave me like Bloodborne vibes, and I was pretty keen to check it out. And then after that, I didn't even touch or see anything on the game. It kind of just came out without me knowing, if I'm being honest. And with that said, I pretty much picked up the game. I went through my Epic library and saw it was there, downloaded it, had a go, and here's basically what I have to say about it. It's overrated. If that's all you're looking for, then click off the video. But in this video, I'll be giving a review on this game, what are the cons and pros about it, what I liked and didn't like, and discussing what I hope this new game that's coming out, A Plague Tale Requiem, will be like. Hopefully it's good, and I really hope it fixes on the issues that I found in this game when playing through it. So there are 5 main things I want to discuss in this video. So the first one will be graphics, atmosphere, and music, the story, characters, level design, and difficulty. I feel like this is going to really break down the game as a whole, as this game isn't too long, so it's going to be pretty easy to talk about. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. The graphics, atmosphere, and music in this game is fantastic. I think they all complement each other very well, and I like the contrast from normal to like the devastation in this game, as you can see on screen now. It looks really nice. They did a really good job trying to put in perspective how this infestation is and how it's affecting the world, especially with what they call the bite, which is the plague pretty much. Well, it is the plague. At the start of the game, you go from this nice, sunny, beautiful, majestical place, and then boom, like a bit into the game, 5 minutes in the game, it just goes all dark. And from there, you see some trickles of the normal world, but most of all, it's being affected by these rats, which is what the whole story is about, which I'll explain later. So basically, you have these beautiful areas, and even where there's devastation and the rats are, or the plague, it's really like nice, and it gives you that dark, scary, disgusting vibe. Especially, I don't think I'll be able to show this on screen because of the YouTube TOS, but like you'll go through some of the rats' nests, and it's just mutilated with corpses, and they're all on the walls, and it's really creepy and disgusting, and you hear the sludging. Or there's this one area where there's a massive battlefield between the two armies, right? And dude, we going on the bodies. It's such a good atmosphere in this game, and I really like that. You get that perspective. It's eerie and it's disgusting, and you're stepping on bodies to get through, and the rats everywhere. It's so good. I think it's massive strong point in this game, which is nice. The atmosphere in this game, like I said, is similar to the graphics depending on what you're doing. You got normal and you got like devastation. I like the contrast between these two, so you'll definitely get different atmosphere in different areas. Or even when you're just walking or whatever, it might be a bit eerie or nice. You might get a little break from doing stuff. It depends on what you're doing, but it all complements each other really well. And that's what I like about this game. I think it's its biggest strong point in this game. The lighting in this game's amazing. When you're walking through trees or the forest, you can see all the individual rays of the light going through the trees. It's amazing. It looks really nice and beautiful, especially at the starting scene in the forest. Looks really, really nice. Like the fire lighting, I guess, in this game is really nice. In this game, basically, light or fire is safety. So when you're, say, hiding next to a fireplace to get away from rats, whatever, you can see all the lighting on where it spreads out, like a real campfire, I guess. Which, I don't know, it doesn't sound that impressive, but it looks really nice in the game. So yeah, that's lighting in the game. It looks really nice when you're in a dark area as well. It's really ominous, and you get that sort of dark feel to it, which is really cool. And that's about it with the graphics, atmosphere, and music. I don't really think there's anything else I can really comment on. It looks really nice. That's basically my point with this. It's really nice. I don't think you can change anything about it. Honestly, it all really ties in very well. You got that dark and ominous sort of graphic feel with the atmosphere and music tying in very well with it. And then you got that sort of normal, beautiful, just everything's just normal. It looks really nice. That's basically it. So let's move on. The story in A Plague Tale is pretty bad. That's how I'm going to say it. It's pretty bad. I don't know. It didn't really captivate me that much. At first, it's kind of interesting when you start experiencing all the infestation of the rats coming in. But once you start playing through it, and even just looking back at it right now, it's pretty bad. So I'll just give a quick recap of what it's about. Basically, your family has a certain like blood or hereditary blood disease that sometimes pops up randomly, I guess. And when it happens, it means it's going to be like the end of the world. It's called the macula. You can kind of see it on this kid's face who's got the disease. That's your brother. Hugo. So when they all start popping up, he starts to like have veins and his blood starts boiling, I guess. I don't really know. And he can control the rats and stuff, which eventually starts happening towards the end of the game. Well, that's kind of the backstory. So the whole story actually is you got to protect your brother the first half. So the first half, you protect your brother, work out what this thing is, try and stop the disease because it can possibly kill him as it has different stages. And the second half is your bitch of a little brother runs off to go find his mother. So the whole second half is trying to save your mother. So pretty much a group of 5 kids go and storm a whole army in a city to kill this bad guy and save their mother. Yeah, it's not great. It's not that good. The whole idea of this game is good on paper, but the way they did it, it just didn't feel right to me, if I'm being honest. It's just so stupid and cheesy. Like, I just didn't like it at all. I'll give you an example. So basically the sister, which is the main character of the game, who you play as, doesn't know anything about this disease. The family did not bother to tell her about it. So you're pretty much clueless the whole game. The whole story is, or the first half story is, okay, I don't know anything about this disease. Let's try and work out how to cure it. That's pretty much what it is. And then you have these people called the Inquisition that are trying to take Hugo and like weaponize him, which is like kind of cool, I guess, in theory. But mostly I think they're just there to get in your way, like add enemies to the game. Because if it was just as simple as trying to cure Hugo, then, you know, then it would just be empty. But if there's enemies in the cities trying to find Hugo and hunt him down and stuff, then it gives your player or the character something to do, I guess. Sneak around them or kill them or whatever. And like, you know, it's cool, I guess, but, and like, so yeah, the whole objective is to hunt Hugo down, and then you work out what they're trying to do, and then like, oh, that's not good, no, and then you end up killing the main bishop dude. It's, oh my god. That's one fight I want to talk about. The last boss fight is the wackiest Looney Tunes shit I've ever fucking seen. Basically, you have like a Ninjago battle with this other dude has like, so your rats, or the main rats, are like light sensitive, but his rats are like dark sensitive, so they work in the light and stuff, you know, you get, it's like opposite, and you basically have like a Ninjago battle. It is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. It is so freaking ridiculous. I didn't even end up writing a script or taking any notes on this bit of the video because I don't know. I don't really think there's anything else that's really noteworthy about the story. If you want to check the story yourself, be my guest, but I don't want to talk too much about it. I didn't like it. I'm not going to be doing a 15-minute video explaining the story. It's written really poorly, and I feel like they should have done a way better job in this. Unfortunately, similar to the story, the characters in this game are pretty lifeless and boring. You don't really remember them after the game, even some of the character deaths in the game. You don't really feel any emotional attachment, and that's a massive problem. If this game is driven by emotion, then I feel like the character deaths need to have a meaning. For example, when I'm playing Red Dead, I felt so emotionally attached to the characters, and when certain ones did die, it literally made me cry, because you're so attached to these characters that it was like of having a friend die or a family member die. So in this game, when a character did die, it was just lifeless. Your parents die at the start of the game. You don't feel any attachment because you literally only known them for 2 minutes. You didn't even get to know anything about them. You have a little brief, it's a little bit brief information, but, you know, dad dies. Oh no, he's dead. And then that's it. And not just about deaths, the character are boring, but the overall, just how you meet them or how they are throughout the game, it's just, you don't really get to see a lot of them. I guess the only character I was attached to, sort of, was the main character and Lucas. Two characters are fairly well written. They're not great, but, you know, you got Amicia, who's the older sister trying to protect her little brother. And she's a good character, she's fearless, and she will do anything to protect her brother, even risking her own life. And then you have Lucas, who's fairly the same. He's more helping them out in terms, which is kind of cool. And he's like the one that gives the player, or gives Amicia and Hugo the information about why this is all happening and how to fix it. And he pretty much shapes kind of the first bit of the story by, you know, they have to make the cure, or I guess the potion, to stop this macula or prevent it from growing any further. Which is, you know, kind of cool. And did you guys notice that I didn't mention Hugo? This character is the worst, or one of the worst characters I've ever seen in a game. He's one of those characters where he's a burden. He's written as like the hero of the game, or he's like the Dragonborn, and he's just written really annoyingly. He does these annoying little prompts. I don't know what it is about this game, but sometimes when you're not doing stuff fast enough and the game wants you to do it really, really quick when there's no rush to it, he will just yell out random crap, and it's really annoying. Like, oh, you need to move out of the way. Oh, there's a guard coming. You know, he's like a really annoying narrator. And don't get me started on his little obsession with his mother. I get he's a little kid, but he gets very, very annoying very quickly. And overall, Hugo is just dead weight. He makes the game very slow at start, makes it very annoying. You gotta hit certain criteria with him. He is sort of useful in some situations when you have to get him to open a door or get him to climb up something that only he can fit through. But most of the time, he's just dead weight. You have to constantly hold his hand. You can't go too far away from him because else he gets afraid and starts alerting guards. Very annoying. And like I said, by the end of it, these characters become very unrememberable, and you kind of look back, especially when I'm doing missions without Hugo. It makes the game so much more better. I'm gonna be honest. It clears up a lot of things. It makes it more interesting and less like an escort mission. That's pretty much what he is, an escort mission, which is, in my opinion, one of the worst missions you can do in games. I hate it. So the other main characters you got are Melly, Roderick, and Arthur. These are like your little, this kind of forms a little gang with Hugo, Lucas, and Amicia. And these three are unrememberable as well. Melly's sort of, I guess, okay, you know, but when Roderick and Arthur die, you don't really feel any sort of emotion. The way Arthur dies is stupid, I'm gonna be honest. It's the worst way to go. And yeah, they're just not really rememberable. They're not written very well. You sort of get a brief backstory with them, but the way you meet them is just very, I don't know, silly. And for some reason, they just abandon their whole lives just to come and help you with your mission that they pretty much, well, I guess, like, maybe if you heard about it, they'd be like, oh, you know, shit, we need to get this fixed. But they just abandon their own lives and come and help you. Even if they're not good lives. They have, like, no emotion behind it. Maybe Melly does a little bit, and Arthur, but... So I'll briefly just talk about the other main characters. So you got Vitalis, Nicholas, and Beatrice. So Vitalis and Nicholas are part of the Inquisition. Vitalis is, like, the main leader. He's, like, this Pope-looking dude who's... He gets brought randomly out of nowhere, and then you sort of just guess he kind of looks evil, I guess. He basically wants to weaponize the power that Hugo has by he extracts Hugo's blood into his own. And like I said, he can control like other rats, like these weird hybrid white rats. And then you have Nicholas. He's pretty dope. He looks really scary at the start of the game. He's the one that comes to your house. You're the first one he's the first enemy you kind of see. Like, big, tough looking dude, and you're like, damn, like, this guy's bad. He's pretty cool. I like how he looks. The motive he has is, I guess it's alright. Trying to help the world, he thinks in his eyes, but not really. You know, he's kind of just clouded in that idea, but it's not really going to work. And then you have Beatrice, who, I don't know, like I said, I didn't really agree with the story and how Amicia doesn't know anything. And the whole second half of the story is trying to save your mother, who's Beatrice. I don't know. She's okay, I guess. She's like a loving mother, I guess, sometimes. But it doesn't seem like she's that loving to her daughter. Rather, really focusing on Hugo. Which sort of makes sense, because, you know, this is a very deadly disease. You know, alright character. Alright, so the level design in A Plague Tale is pretty average. It's like a linear sort of game. You go through different little levels, or areas in the game, as it should be called. But they're basically levels. It's mostly go in, sneak around somewhere between a few guards, do like simple little puzzles, little like sets of puzzles that will lead to something big. For example, using your slingshot to hit a chain that drops something and kills one of the guards, or lighting out fires, or that sort of stuff. You know, just basic puzzle stuff, similar to like Little Nightmares or those sort of games, just full of puzzles. It's a strategy game, basically. So throughout the game, your character will get equipped with certain ways to do certain puzzles. So at the start, like I said, it's use this slingshot to knock things or move things. Then, say, the next level, or throughout levels, it'll go from doing that to lighting out fires and using rats to kill guards, or exploding rats with a certain alchemy recipe you learn. You know, that sort of stuff. It's not too hard, and the puzzles aren't too hard to learn. You'll definitely point them out and know exactly what to do. Some of them are actually kind of took me a little bit to think about, and a little bit of trial and error, but they're not like impossible. They're pretty easy. I think anyone could pick up the game and do them. Alrighty, and lastly, difficulty, the easiest section to talk about. The game isn't difficult at all. It's pretty easy. The AI isn't that smart, so I'm not sure you won't have any trouble doing anything. Sometimes they can be a bit weird, like, for example, I had one guy when I was crouching and sneaking just directly staring at me as he was trying to investigate the rock I'd thrown. Stuff like that, but overall it's pretty easy. You won't really get stuck on any levels for a long time anyway. It might take you a few times to, you know, if you're not great at games or you've just picked up this sort of genre of games. It'll take you a couple times to do some levels, but most of them are just sneak here, sneak that, do this, throw that, like Assassin's Creed sort of. So pretty easy. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about difficulty. Lastly, before I finish it off, the boss fights are pretty easy as well. It's mostly the boss fights are a combination of destroy something in order to make them vulnerable. For example, the first boss fight's like, he's got this big armor so you can't do anything against it. So what you gotta do, destroy the straps that are holding it down. And then once it falls off, you can just hit him in the head and he dies. Not too hard, pretty alright, but they're not crazy boss fights. They're not nothing to rememberable about. Just average stuff. So yeah.